Hey everyone, and it is May the 5th, which is also Revenge of the 5th. So, that being said, happy Star Wars Day. And also, the new thing is, this is May, so happy Star Wars month. Now, that new video I made saying that I would do an audiobook and also I'd do some what if stories. So, to kick it off, I started a rough video of a Superman video, of audiobook, I should say. That was one of the things that I wanted to do for an audiobook. Now, the other thing that I want to do is a what if video. Now, this one's going to be a little bit different from a lot of other people's what if videos because I am going to try and completely improvise this whole what if Star Wars story. I have been thinking about it actually for this improvisation of a what if for Star Wars. So I don't know if it's going to be completely improvised, but I would say it would be, considering that it came from my mind and I hardly ever wrote it down. So here goes nothing. It is what if there were twin brothers in the clone troopers that were defects. I know it sounds weird, but all I'm saying is, yeah, hear me out. That's really all I'm trying to say. With that being said, let's get on with the story. Okay, so time frame. What happens is it's going to be taking place in the third movie, Revenge. No, I don't remember what the third one was called. Hold on a second. Sorry about that. I had to look it up real fast. It is Revenge of the Sith, and it takes place during that time period. With all that being said, there were two clones made who were considered defective considering on how they looked, acted, and spoke. One of the brothers was militaristic, and the other one was more of optimistic, I guess you could say. In other words, he wasn't very military-like. They both went through all of their training together, while the militaristic one was great at strategies and the book smarts for what they needed to do, and the other one just was a carefree guy who wanted to just, lay around, smell the roses, and stuff like that. Well, the militaristic one actually passed, while the other one, he barely passed. Only passed because of a technicality that they needed more people, and it would be kind of pointless to send him away. I guess you could say that he was a little bit incompetent at sometimes. Don't get me wrong, they were both great warriors and soldiers, but apart, they were just a bit different. One, the militaristic one, would actually go in guns not blazing, but would go in with a clear head and shoot his target whenever necessary and needed. While the other one was more for the negotiation time. He would want to try and sit down and talk with the person instead of trying to actually kill them like his orders were given to him. This caused a bit of a difference and disturbance inside the ranks of how they were put in. I know that was confusing, and I'm sorry for that. They went on successful missions countless times, and whenever they would have a Jedi with them, they would seem to win even more and faster. Now here's where it gets a little interesting. There were chips installed inside the helmets and some of the clones, but unfortunately, the two brothers, they were defective. They couldn't exactly have those chips. One didn't really care because he was just the laid back one, while the militaristic one would constantly wonder what it was about those chips that were needed and why they weren't able to have them considering while the other ones did. Eventually, he found out and he went to Palpatine to wonder why. Well, it's safe to say he got his answer and walked away after he had a conversation with Palpatine. As the days went on, they began to have odd training regimens. The optimistic one kept noticing that Anakin was looking a bit different and his eye color changed. He would look over to his brother and ask him why. Hey, do you notice that Anakin's a bit different? He looks and sounds kind of different and menacing like. The militaristic brother turned to him and responded with, well, maybe he's just taking everything in consideration. I mean, he does have to be on the front line, and he has a lightsaber that's probably singed a lot of people. So with that being said, he probably has seen some things. The optimistic brother didn't necessarily like that. So later on, after all the training had happened, he went and actually tried to be nice and get him something to take his mind off of things and to ease it. Unfortunately, before he could actually do all that, they were deployed on a certain mission. While they were being deployed, all the troopers were getting messages with the numbers 66 and orders. Now, the optimistic brother had no idea what that was, while the militaristic one did, and he just sat there with a evil grin. All the ships went into different directions, while the twins went to the Jedi Temple. As they all landed, they had to go in different directions. Some up, some down, some left, some right. While Anakin went ahead and found the youngling's temple room. Explosions began to go off everywhere, while the optimistic one was shocked and tried to figure out what was all happening and going on. He began to hear screams and shooting, and what's worse, he heard the screams of younglings. The optimistic one ran in with his gun in hand, and he found no one, only singed marks and ash. He ran frantically and tried to find anyone he could. He stumbled across a broom closet that had a couple handfuls of younglings in it. When he opened the door, they all screamed in fear of him, and all he could think of was to put his hand up to them and tell them everything was alright and take his helmet off and show them a smile that everything was okay. No, it's okay, it's me, it's fine, everything's fine, we're here to save you. Then one of the younglings stood up and anger filled his voice. No, you're here to kill us like everyone else. The optimistic one was in shock, trying to figure out why he would do that, or say that at all. No, what are you talking about? We're the good guys. We're here to help you. There's a disturbance, he told the boy, and trying to defuse the escalated problem. Shortly after, the militaristic brother comes up behind him and was questioning on what he was doing. He turned to him and talked. Hey, what's he talking about? He's saying that we're killing these kids. What's the matter? Why are they saying that? Is there someone dressed as us? Are there droids out here that looks like us? What's the deal? The militaristic brother took off his helmet with a nonchalant look. You can't possibly believe that droids would look like us. Well, I mean, it's just a thought, but why else would he say that we're trying to kill? He said as he heard a blast from his brother's gun, shooting one of the younglings behind him. The optimistic brother turns and sees the horror of a youngling being shot. Are you crazy? Why would you do that? They were so young. Why? He grabbed his brother and frantically tried to knock some sense into him as he held him against the wall, questioning him. The militaristic brother just smiled and had a bit of a laugh. Come on. You can't possibly think that we have to let them live. The Jedi need to die. Starting with the younglings, he said as he held up his gun, pointing at more of the younglings. The optimistic one could not let that happen any further, so he grabbed his gun and held it in the air as it was shot. The militaristic brother then retaliated by headbutting him, and he punched him in the gut to try and deter him and get him away. The optimistic one was dazed and confused by why his brother would openly attack him like that. For God's sake, man, why would you hit me? Are you crazy? What's wrong with you? He spoke to his brother, trying to get through to him. Don't you understand? We have to kill these kids. They are the problem. We are going to rule. We are the Empire. The Optic Mystic One finally understood all of what has been said and all the training on why they had to be so cruel. After his brother had said that, he put his arm on his shoulder, or his hand, on his shoulder, and spoke. Come on, brother. You know what's right. We have to do this. They don't matter. It won't matter in the end. We're going to make this a better place. We're saving them before they hurt themselves. The Optic Mystic One didn't want to do what he thought, so he tried his best to talk. Do we have to? Like this, do we have to kill them? There has to be a better way. The militaristic brother just looks at him and says, I'm sorry, but no. This has to be it. This is the way that we need for the Empire. Optimistic brother just looks at his brother, the militaristic brother, and looks away. The optimistic brother just looks at the militaristic one and says, I'm sorry. I have to save them. As he says this, he shoots his brother in the gut with the laser. The militaristic brother was shocked, caught off guard that he was shot by his own brother. I'm sorry, I had to. You were killing kids. He spoke as he held his brother and put him down gently. The militaristic brother just looks at him and says, You're the failure, not me. With those harsh words, the optimistic brother shed his tear of the words, the very harsh words of his brother. He then took his gun because, well, he was shot in the gut and there was hardly anything he was going to do. The best thing he could do was probably shoot him. So the optimistic brother decided to do something that he thought was right. So he took the gun away. That way he wouldn't try to attack any more younglings, or him for that matter. And he escaped with all the younglings. Well, maybe not all of them. I mean, Anakin Skywalker got a couple of them, but still, he saved the ones that he could. After he saved the ones that he could, he then went on his own way. Well, they say that he went on his own way, but really, he had a bunch of Jedis with him. He taught them the ways that he was taught, and they taught him how to wield a lightsaber. So now, Optimistic Brother is a Jedi. And he, along with the rest of the ones that he had saved, are the new Jedis. They would also do their own thing by gathering more people to help them. But the thing is, they did it in secrecy. Because if they didn't, there would be another Jedi Temple incident. Now, the militaristic brother, on the other hand, well, he had a lot done for him. He had a new stomach put in because, well, his original one was shot. And he eventually hated his brother forever and ever. Not only that, he also got a red lightsaber, and he became a Sith. Oh yeah, I should probably mention that his stomach isn't exactly a stomach replacement. It is more on the lines of how Darth Vader got all those robotic parts put onto him so he would be able to live. So yeah, mid-torso, he has robotic parts. Go figure. Not only that, he became a Sith. Wait, I've probably already said that, but yeah, he became a Sith. Now there's a never-ending war between those two whenever they would come into contact with each other. Militaristic Sith versus the optimistic Jedi. And that is the end of this What If story. I personally liked it. I kind of liked it a lot. I mean, it's a little different from what I actually had, from all the ones that I wrote down, but, you know, I wanted to try the improvisation idea. So yes, this was improvised, but I also had a different version that was a little bit wrote out. Nonetheless, I like it. I like the improvisation version. But, you know, there are some parts that I liked in the written one. Unfortunately, I could not remember those. So with that being said, May the 5th, wait a minute, Revenge of the 5th, this is May, you know, and I've been Alf Loki. Thank you for watching, or listening, and yeah, hopefully I'll be able to do more of these. Goodbye.